Hey, everybody, this is Tara Simkins, and welcome back to another episode of the Soul-u-tions podcast. I have some very exciting news that I want to share with you that happened earlier today. I'm super excited about it. But also buried in there, not quite so buried, I'll just lay it out for you, is something cool that you might consider doing in your life when you're going through a tough time. So enjoy the intro theme song, and I'll meet you back on the other side.
Einstein said, "We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them." Most everyone in the world is solving their problems the wrong way. Our problems come from our thinking, and we can solve them with our thinking. So, whether you're at your lowest, just trying to grow, or whether you are trying to sustain growth over your lifetime, join us as we push the boundaries of our current thinking and redefine how we find Soul-u-tions.
The hope and the strength and the love and the smiles and the laughter of friends and family. Add it up, you'll find no limit to the possibilities.
So I woke up this morning thinking, well, let's start with yesterday. Sundays, I love Sundays. I don't know about y'all. I don't get the Sunday scaries. I actually get the Monday anticipation, super excited for what the new week will bring. But then on Monday, when I wake up, I kind of get the Monday morning scaries. All the motivation and excitement that I had on Sunday for the promise of the new week just kind of is not anywhere within my reach. Usually, I don't sleep very well on Sunday nights, probably because I've stayed up a little late over the weekend and I'm off my routine. So I'm dragging a bit. This Monday was no exception to that. So I get up, and when that happens, all I do is I always think, coffee first. Put one foot in front of the other, and I literally let my feet I look at my feet as they touch the ground from the bed. I'm like, right, left, stand straight up, walk to coffee, make the coffee. And usually I'm emptying out the coffee grinds from the day before that I didn't. And so today again was no exception to that. And I have to keep moving myself through my Monday morning routine in that same kind of vein, because it doesn't come back to me. Like, it's not like, Monday morning miracle, and I'm super excited to be alive and a person on earth. It's just like, I'm so tired. What was I thinking yesterday? I don't want to do anything today. But in those times, what I do is I just think, again, one step at a time, just get moving, Tara. And the reason why I'm sharing this with you is, in addition to how it sets up the story for what exciting thing happened, what really cool thing happened. But the reason why I am sharing this with you is that so many people that I coach are waiting on something to happen before they do the thing that they say that they want to do in their life. And then when that time comes, instead of being motivated, they have zero motivation. And so the reason this happens, and I think this is super interesting because I just thought it was kind of this weird, wacky, I don't know, ambivalence. Like, there was no reason that it happened. It's kind of like the weather, right? You don't have any control over this happening. But that's not the case. You actually have a lot of control over this happening. One, it happens because you have a human brain. And we always think that, what is that saying? The other side of the grass is greener, or whatever. Your neighbor's grass is greener. I can't remember the exact saying. But we just think that when we get to whatever that point is, we are going to feel different than we do right now. So on Sundays, I dream about being motivated on Monday because I'm not motivated on Sunday. And so I'm deferring taking the action that I need to take until an imagined magical, mystical time when motivation will just land on me, only to find that when I wake up, the motivation still isn't there. So there are two things that you have to learn how to do in this scenario. One is you have to learn how to do the thing that you want to do when you're not motivated. You have to learn like a different feeling, a feeling that's deeper, that you can rely on more than motivation. And if you took a moment like right now to say, okay, what would a stronger feeling be for me than motivation? What would it be? Just take a moment. I'm just gonna pause here for a second. Just let your brain go to work for you. You're just giving it this prompt. It's like, okay, what could be stronger than motivation? For me, that is commitment, dedication, a refusal to quit on myself and on my dreams. And so when I wake up on a Monday morning and I'm not motivated like I had imagined I would be the night before, I am committed. I know that, okay, I just have to just start the engine, right? I just have to get the coffee, get out the door, one foot in front of the other. And then I know that on my calendar, I have already scheduled some appointments. And so now I just have to show up for those things. I just have to follow through with the commitment. And this is how I kind of engineer my days so that I'm not relying on something as finicky, as flighty, as fickle as motivation. Maybe elusive is another term for it, but commitment, perseverance, dedication, and a refusal to give up on myself and the life that I want. And that brings me to today, what was one of the cool things that was on my calendar. So at 10 o'clock this morning, I had on my calendar a Zoom meeting with the other founders of the Press On Fund and board members. And for those of you listeners who've been listening to me for a long time and know my story, you are probably one of the dedicated Press On supporters out there and donors. And I just want to say thank you so much for your commitment and your dedication to Press On's mission, which is to find a cure for childhood cancer within our lifetime. For those of you who don't know what the Press On Fund is, it's a fund where we raise money for childhood cancer research, and then we invest that money in what we have come to believe is the most impactful research going on right now. Anyway, we started the Press On Fund with our co-founders, Stephen and Erin Chance, back in 2009 when my middle son, Brennan, was just getting started at St. Jude after his first relapse from his first bone marrow transplant. And we just started raising money. And the thing I was going to share with you about what the Press On Fund has done or did for us at that time was we had just been told by a top 10 pediatric cancer research center that there were no curative options for our son, Brennan, who had relapsed 100 days after his first transplant. And our friends, the Chances, their son had recently relapsed just a month or two before at from a different childhood cancer disease, neuroblastoma. And they knew that they were coming to the end of their options as well. So what starting the Press On Fund, bringing our resources together, combining our friendship and our motivation, but also our commitment to this idea of pressing on, of persevering to find a cure in the face of our children not having options, curative options, allowed us to participate in the possibility of creating a curative option alongside our children in the fight. And I think that anytime you find yourself in a really dark place, a deep hole, a challenge that seems insurmountable, sometimes that challenge may be there because you have something within you that you can bring to bear on the challenge. Not that you have the answer, or as we like to say, the solution, the SOLUTIONS, solution to that problem. But there might be something inside of you that you could be part of the solution, the bigger picture, that you could play a role in that. And so that's what we just started doing. We started asking our doctors, do you have any research that you need help funding? Could we participate? And if this didn't ultimately lead to a cure for either one of our children, perhaps it would lead to a cure for another child. Well, after that time in 2009, when we started raising money, about 3 years later, we invited another family to join our cause, and that is the Crawford family. And their daughter, Hallie, has a brain tumor. And so they joined us in the Press On Fund. Anyway, fast forward from 2009 to this morning, which is June of 2024. And we're in our board meeting, and we voted to grant $1.5 million to two particular pediatric cancer research causes over the next 4 years. $1.5 million over the next 4 years. This is on top of the already $5 million that we have funded in childhood cancer research over the last, 15 years. And one of the things, back to how my morning started, even though I had that meeting on my calendar, I wasn't really thinking about the bigger picture of what I and my co-founders and fellow board members have committed to. This morning, I had been looking forward to that when I set this meeting about 3 weeks ago. But this morning, I woke up and I was just feeling down and sad and full of grief. And I just couldn't grasp that bigger picture that I needed. And so again, it was just one foot in front of the other and trusting what I had put on my calendar. And I want you to know that. It's so, so important for you to know that, because I think that a lot of people think in order to do big things or to make an impact, you have this source of energy inside of you or this drive inside of you that's constant and consistent. But what you really have is just a human being, me, who wakes up on a Monday morning with the Monday scaries and filled with sadness and grief from processing a 15-year period of grief, and who just is literally putting one foot in front of the other and showing up for the things that she put on her calendar. And when you can string together 15 years of Mondays like that, that is what it really looks like to create an impact in the world. It truly is like, I don't want to say that boring, but maybe something that is very inspiring can be created by a bunch of days where you don't feel very inspired. And so I don't want you to feel like you can't do that inspiring thing because you don't feel inspired, or that you can't do the thing, or you have to wait until you feel motivated to do the thing. No, you have to learn this skill set of learning how to do things when you feel unmotivated. And you have to learn this other skill set of finding another emotion that will carry you through all the uninspired and unmotivated days, but won't take your eyes off the goal. And I smile when I say that because the phrase press on, the name of our fund, the Press On Fund, my partners, Stephen and Aaron Chance, had started signing off on their emails about that when they were sharing about how their son Patrick was doing in treatment. And that term, to press on, was taken from a letter, a New Testament letter from St. Paul to the Philippians. And it says, that we will press on toward the goal. And in that letter, it's to press on toward the goal of Christ in Jesus. And press on back in those days would have meant to run your race, right? To keep putting one foot in front of the other until you reach your goal. And you see the theme here, right? Just like this morning, I just put one foot in front of the other. That's what it means to press on. It just means putting one foot in front of the other, and one foot in front of the other on days when you don't feel like it. Now, I've got to put my legal disclaimer in here just to make sure that I don't confuse anybody or that you don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I don't mean that you don't take rest days, and I don't mean that you overwork yourself when I'm saying to press on, or that you take on more than you can handle. I'm just saying that incorporate your rest, get up, and put one foot in front of the other until you reach your goal. And sometimes that is going to look like on, a Monday morning, on a Sunday night where you didn't sleep as well as you wanted to, but it doesn't mean that you don't ever rest. And so that's just really important for you to understand, because I think sometimes in our culture of productivity and not resting, we can sometimes misunderstand that. So no, you have to have your rest, but just because you didn't get 8 hours last night doesn't mean that you can't get up and put one foot in front of the other, because that's what commitment is. So, here we have, as a group of families and parents, been putting one foot in front of the other, and a group of donors who I hope are listeners to the Soul-u-tions podcast, to let you know that you all, there's a fly in here, you are all a part of that commitment, and your dedication and willingness to be a donor with us has helped get us to this point. And then there's this other part where when you have a big goal, you can also hear in this story that I haven't done this by myself. my husband Turner is a part of it. I mentioned both Stephen and Aaron Chance and Bob and Melanie Crawford. And now two of the next generation, Nat Simkins, our son, and then Madison Chance, have also joined in on it. And so another reason for my big board meeting today was to say, hey, listen, we have this opportunity to grant this money to these two amazing pieces of research. One is here at the Children's Hospital of Georgia with Doctors Johnson and Munn, and some immunotherapy research that is not being done anywhere else but here. And we've been a part of that research for over 10 years now. And then another is global acute leukemia research protocol that the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society has taken the next step from a group of parents. But you need a community of people to help you if you have a big idea or a big goal. Enlisting others into whatever that big goal is and getting buy-in and sharing it and inviting people to come along for the journey is a really important part of it. And also understanding when, I said we don't quit on our goals, but we do need to rest, and understanding when you might need to take a step back and hand the baton to someone else. This is another reason why having a team who is bought into your vision, or founders or co-founders, is really important, because when you get tired, someone else can step in and allow you to rest. And then when they need to rest, either you can step back in or somebody else can step back in. I remember this image when I was this was still back in 2009, and I was still starting my coaching journey from being a lawyer and starting to study coaching. But my first coach had this image, and she talked about geese, that when geese are migrating and traveling, they generally fly in this V-like pattern. And so the bird that's flying at the front of like the apex of that V is breaking the air, and the current of the air is like doing more work than all of the geese in line behind on either side of them. And that each of those geese are actually drafting on the lead flying bird. And so that takes a lot of energy to be the leader of that migration, that flight pattern. And so after a certain amount of time, the bird in the front goes to the back and another bird takes its place, right? And then it can draft off of the other ones. And that image was so important for me because at the time we were just starting Press On, and this would have been in the summer of 2009 that I read about that 15 years ago. I mean, truly, like now it's the summer of 2024. It was like June of 2009 when I read that. And I'm like, oh yeah, I wrote about that in a care page because it was all of the people and the prayers and the people on our team. We were all like that formation, that bird formation. And when the one in the lead, whether it was myself or Turner, got tired, we could pull back. And then we still had this amazing flock that was flying with us and that we could actually draft off of the energy. And in our case, it was the prayers and of everyone else. And then as that image and metaphor evolved, it ended up, looking like the tip of the spear of where is the tip of the spear of research. And instead of just prayers, it was donations and prayers and stories. And so here it is 15 years later. I'm going to take my turn to move to the back of the line, and I'm going to let my co-founder and partner, Aaron Chance, is going to take the lead, and Nat and Simkins and Madison Simpkins are going to, Madison Chance, oh my gosh, are going to take this opportunity to help her in that. So I wanted to say thank you to all of the listeners who are Press On supporters, and I wanted to take an opportunity to mark this moment with a celebratory podcast episode dedicated to like what a group of people can do when they come together behind a big idea that is born out of the ashes of the most challenging time in your life, and how that can give you such a great sense of purpose and a great sense of meaning in your life and a great sense of personal pride. So this morning when I woke up, I wasn't very motivated, and I was just doing the best I could by putting one foot in front of the other. And I led that meeting, and we voted the way we voted, and this amazing new leadership came out of it. And then I went back to the trail of putting one foot in front of the other, and that's when it dawned on me, oh my gosh, we just decided to grant out $1.5 million over the next 4 years, and how proud I am of the work that we've done over the last 5 years to put us in the position to be able to promise that for the next 4 years. So another reason why I'm stepping aside is because I really want to put that kind of energy into the Soul-u-tions Labs, which, as you know, if you're a listener, a long-term listener, you are already a member of the Soul-u-tions Labs, or you've heard me talk about it. But this is a really unique learning platform, and it's as of right now, I can't say that it will always be this way, because I do have a vision that it will grow beyond this. But as of right now, it is just for women. It is just a membership for women who are alive in the world today, who want to do this thing called life a little bit easier, and maybe take advantage of better research and information than your mother and your grandmother had, right? And who are handling like raising children and being married and making money and doing meaningful work in a time in history of human civilization that's just going at a bonkers speed. And it is a hard time to parent. It is a hard time to be married. It is a time where things that worked in the past aren't actually working for us in the now, right? We have these neurodivergent brains and this technology that's playing all into this. So all of that to say is that the Soul-u-tions Labs is an answer where you can come like to get all the answers that you need for all of the relationships that you are in. It's like a one-stop learning platform. Not one-stop shopping, but one-stop learning, so that you don't have to keep following, 5 parenting experts, 5 marriage experts, 5, faith-based experts, 5 money experts or business coaching experts. You can get all of that in one learning platform for like an amazing price of $100 a month. And it boggles my mind that for an entire year, you can get all the knowledge and information that you need for less than what somebody might be paying for their Botox. And there's nothing wrong with Botox. That's just fine. But just think about, are you giving the insides in your life as much attention as you're giving the outsides in your life? They need equal attention from you. So Soul-u-tions Labs is that place. I want to make sure you go to TaraSimkins.com, and I have a free masterclass for you there. You just put your email in there and you'll get sent to your email inbox in tiny bite-sized doable segments, the masterclass. There are 3 easy steps. We use these 3 easy steps every Friday in the Soul-u-tions Labs, and it's just a way to rewire your brain in a world that is trying its best to keep your brain wired for negativity and fear and all the obstacles in life. This is a tool that you can use to keep your eyes and your sights on the prize, right? To press on toward the goals that you want to create in your life. And to do this, you have to start evaluating the things that are working in your life before you give any airtime to the things that aren't working in your life. And that is the one thing that most everybody I know is doing wrong. Most everybody is walking around going, this isn't working in my life, and this isn't working in my life, and I've tried everything, and I don't know what to do. And there is a time and place for that, but it is only after you're like, I am going through a really hard time, and yet this table is here to hold this microphone. This phone is here to hold my notes. Gravity is keeping me on the earth, like learning to rewire your brain to see what the possibilities are. That's how we were able to envision this thing called press on, right? We could have just said there are no more curative options. But because we had been like really doing the disciplined mental and emotional labor that it takes to, during a hard time, look for other options. And when you can't find them, engaging in conversation as to what will it take to create new options. This is the type of thinking that we need so desperately at this time in our lives. This is the type of thinking that your kids are going to need so desperately. I mean, I am coaching kids left and right now who have gotten out of school and they know how to study for the test and how to regurgitate things. But to truly look for solutions in a world that is just telling them that they're nothing but problems, that is a different skill set. And so that's the purpose of the Soul-u-tions Labs, is to make sure that every woman I know is developing that skill set in such a way that she can pass it on and teach it to people in her life. So I just want to thank you again. Go to TaraSimkins.com. Make sure you put your name in to get that masterclass. And then I'll start sending you these emails. And then bonus, when you get an email, reply to me. Tell me something you want to hear on the podcast, or tell me what's going on in your life. I like to make these episodes very relevant for you. So thank you for being out here and for listening and for being part of this celebration podcast. And until next time, my friends, really, really have a wonderful day.
'Cause I ain't done living the life I'm meant to lead. And I ain't done loving the ones who cared for me. The hope and the strength and the love and the smiles and the laughter of friends and family. Add it up, you'll find no limit to the possibility.